Mangwana ni mwalelepo etitano narikale liwa, as our colleague would always say. Good morning and welcome to Africa Good Morning. This is the show that keeps you abreast with the latest happenings across the continent. My name is Aina Rezakoya alongside Diana Master Momkase.
Tamuka Mamukase.
Tamuka.
Walelepo nawa.
Talelepo nawa. Mwalalapo.
Now let's get into what you can expect in today's broadcast. An update on Storm Freddy, Malawi to declare 537 missing persons dead. Botswana denies soldiers starving in Mozambique. South Sudan president appoints own defense minister, breaching peace deal. We're also going to be crossing on over to Zambia to speak to Mr. Mike Sichula, who will give us the latest news on the ground that side. Stick around, top stories coming up right after this.
In our top stories this morning, Storm Freddy, Malawi to declare 537 missing persons dead. Police in Malawi will declare 537 missing persons dead after Tropical Storm Freddy unleashed devastation in the country. The storm saw mudslides sweep through neighborhoods and bury people in the mud. The head of the Disaster Management Unit, Charles Kalemba, told reporters on Wednesday that chances of finding the missing persons alive were slim after 17 days of searching. He cited a case where an entire village was swept away by a mudslide and police using sniffer dogs were unable to rescue anyone. The search operation in the area has been called off. There are about 537 people still missing. They would not be alive by now, considering that it's now about 17 days since they went missing, he told a media briefing.
Now, Botswana denies soldiers starving in Mozambique. Botswana Defense Force has denied reports that its soldiers deployed in northern Mozambique for peacekeeping are starving due to shortage of food. The army dismissed a local newspaper report titled BDF Troops Starving, terming it baseless and unfounded. In a statement on Wednesday, BDF said its soldiers in Mozambique's restive Cabo Delgado province are physically and morally supported to attain fighting power. About 300 BDF troops were deployed in 2021 under the Southern Africa Development Community Mission to Mozambique. Intensified patrols by Mozambican forces and Samim troops have resulted in a drop in militant activity in northern Mozambique, local media reported.
Now in our next story, South Sudan president appoints own defense minister, breaching peace deal. Now South Sudan President Salva Kiir has appointed a member of his own party as defense minister, according to a decree read on state media, breaching a peace deal in which the role should be selected by the party of the opposition leader Riek Machar. Kiir fired defense minister Angelina Teny, who is also first Vice President Machar's wife, along with the Interior Minister this month, reigniting long-standing disagreements over how the two war veterans share power. Kiir and Machar forces signed a peace agreement in 2018 and that ended 5 years of civil war that killed 400,000 people and triggered Africa's biggest refugee crisis since the 1994 Rwandan genocide. The implementation of the deal has been slow, and boats of fightings have continued to kill and displace large numbers of civilians, according to a decree read on state TV late on Wednesday. Kiir replaced Teny with Cholton Balog, a loyal general and former governor of Upper Nile State.
Now, India pitches affordable military hardware to Africa. India showed off domestically made helicopters, drones, and artillery at a gathering of army chiefs and officials from 31 African nations on Wednesday, as the world's largest arms importer seeks to become a major exporter too. India has pumped billions into its defense sector in an effort to become less reliant on imports, including from Russia, as it faces off against China on their disputed border. At the same time, it has been trying to sell more of its domestically produced hardware to other countries, particularly poorer nations unable to afford more expensive Western-made kit. We're making equipment which is affordable and reliable, retired Indian Army General V.G. Patankar told AFP at the event. On Wednesday, the Indian military showed off the goods on offer with a simulated operation featuring commandos abseiling from helicopters, armored vehicles, and bomb disposal robots. Also on display in Pune in Western India, the country's key defense manufacturing hub, were assault rifles, artillery shells, and models of missiles. The gathering, which followed 9 days of joint military drills with soldiers from 23 African countries, included delegates from Ethiopia, Egypt, Kenya, Morocco, Nigeria, Rwanda, and South Africa.
Kenyatta's home security enhanced amid Kenya protests. Heavy police presence have been witnessed at former Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta's home in the central region days after his family-owned property was raided. A local police commander said a total of 30 officers have been deployed at Master Kenyatta's Ichaweri home to keep watch in case of any possible eventuality, a local TV station reported. On Monday, Master Kenyatta's family's farm was invaded by looters, and a gas cylinder factory linked to opposition leader Raila Odinga was also vandalized. The invasion sparked outrage, with police being faulted for failing to protect the property of the former head of state. On Tuesday, President William Ruto said he would ensure everyone's life, property, and business was protected during the ongoing opposition protests. Reports says police also have been deployed at the opposition politician Martha Karoa's rural home in Kirinyaga, also in central Kenya. Ms. Karoa and Master Odinga's running mate, Master Karoa was Master Odinga's running mate in last year's election.
And now bringing us to the end of our top stories. In Mozambique, 44,000 hectares are lost in Inhambane. The passage of Cyclone Freddy in the southern Mozambican province of Inhambane has caused the loss of over 44,000 hectares of crops, according to the Provincial Director of Agriculture and Fisheries, Francisco Feijão, cited in Tuesday's issue of Maputo Daily Noticias. 44,953 hectares were lost to the cyclone. In addition, 16,351 hectares were affected by drought and 102 hectares by pests and disease. The phenomenon affected maize, millet, sorghum, cassava, and vegetables, Feijão said, adding that Mabote, Vilankulo, Inhasoro, Funaloro, Guvuro are the most affected districts. For his part, the governor of Inhambane province, Daniel Chapo, said that the work is being carried out with cooperation partners in order to acquire seeds and production inputs in order to help the producers who lost their crops. We have to work together to avoid food insecurity. Our partners have an approach to work with the local authorities in order to provide help to the producers, he said.
The United States is seemingly pushing Zambia to legalize homosexuality, but the Zambian nation is not happy. Master Sichula has this story after the break.
Kom kuier gerus elke Vrydag aand saam met Arjougaard, waar hy vooruitskouing doen van wat op die sportvelde reg oor die wêreld gaan plaasvind. Daar word op die naweek se top internasionale sportgeleenthede gefokus en plaaslike sport in Namibië asook Suid-Afrika word in oënskou geneem. Die kenners praat saam en huidige asook oud spelers gee hul mening en ons hoor grootlik sommer uit die spoorlike perd se bek. Niemand weet met sekerheid wat die naweek op die sportveld gaan gebeur nie, maar iemand weet wel watter faktore die uitslae kan beïnvloed. Ons praat met daardie iemand wat weet, en soms word geheim ook uitgelaat. Vrydag aande is ons in die tonnel gereed om uit te draf. Dit is jou Vrydag afspraak wat jou ingelig gaan hou alvordat die spelers uit die tonnel opdraf. Sport is ons passie. Sien jou in die tonnel.
Now, the 2023 Democracy Summit came to a close in Lusaka yesterday, but some opposition leaders held a protest to denounce the United States' push for Zambia to legalize homosexuality. Here to give us an update is Mr. Mike Sichula. Good morning, Mr. Sichula.
Good morning, and Africa, good morning.
Right, let's get straight into it. Tell us about this.
Yes, the summit which Zambia has been co-hosting with Costa Rica and the Netherlands attracted over 5,000 delegates from across the world. President Hichilema did speak yesterday, and as you can see in the background, that is one of the opposition political party leaders, Mr. Frank Tayari, who led a group of young people at the U.S. Embassy in Lusaka to denounce the coming in of U.S. Vice President, who is arriving in Zambia today for today. So this summit, which seeks to enhance democracy as well as human rights, then that is where there's a controversy in terms of human rights, the upholding of human rights, which the United States says a part of the human rights is to let people who practice homosexuality not to be arrested. But in Zambia here, homosexuality is a crime, and anybody who practices it must be punished. So a number of people have speculated that the arrival of the U.S. Vice President is one of those that seeks to push this agenda that Zambia should acknowledge. So even during the summit itself, a number of people were very observant in terms of what the president is going to say in terms of upholding Zambia's laws against homosexuality. And the president did not touch on such matters, but he only focused on how Zambia has maintained its democracy in Africa.
All right, Master Sichula, we understand that the border has revised their business hours from 8 hours to 24 hours to boost trade. Tell us about this border.
Yes, the Kasumbalesa border post, which is between Zambia and the Democratic Republic of Congo on the Copper Belt province, is one of the busiest as trucks as far as South Africa pass through that border to take goods into the Congo. So the operating hours for passenger clearance at the border in Chirabombo has been revised from 18 hours to 24 hours on a day so that it can increase business between that border. Zeda Zambia Revenue Authority corporate communications manager Oliver Nzara says the revised hours are in effect in Zambia and the Democratic Republic of Congo. The revising of the operating hours is part of the resolutions of the meeting between ministers responsible for commerce and trade from Zambia and the government of the Republic of Congo.
Now, in a related development, security agencies are on high alert to curb smuggling of maize and mealie meal to neighboring countries. Could you please get into this?
Yeah, this is according to a resolution of the 60th cabinet meeting held on Monday this week, chaired by President Hakainde Hichilema at State House. Zambia is one of the countries that produces mealie meal, and this mealie meal is on high demand in neighboring countries such as Angola, the Congo. So a number of people are getting this mealie meal out of Zambia, which is cheaper, and taking into Angola and Congo, where this commodity is fetching on a higher price. Some of it even goes to Malawi. So Chief Government Spokesperson Chusi Kasanda says the move will ensure that the country remains food secure, particularly in the for the staple food maize. She also warned that those involved in illegal exports and smuggling will face the wrath of the law, and it is something that has been ongoing for a number of years. and government seems not to have found a solution. Because in neighboring countries, the price of the staple food maize is fetching higher, and business people are taking advantage of that.
All right, Master Sichula, we understand that retired footballer Oneuptwo is not giving up on his dreams, and he's now seeking, divine intervention from a Nigerian pastor who lives in South Africa. Very interesting. Tell us about this.
Yes, Oneuptwo, a video has emerged where Oneuptwo was seen seeking God's intervention. There he is in the picture in South Africa, where he did tell the pastor and the congregation that his heart problem began after he was given a sweet by his friend while he was on international duty. So after that sweet, that's when he developed the heart problem, which has since ruled him out of the beautiful game. There you can see him laying down and the pastor praying for him. Then after the pastor did pray for him, he did tell the congregation that two angels, invisible angels, only visible to the pastor, did appear and conducted a bloodless surgery, and he was put with a new heart according to the pastor, and he was told to go back to Leicester City and have be examined so that he could do that they could certify him fit to play the beautiful game. But this state of affairs has triggered debate among Zambians who are urging Oneuptwo to be very careful, because if he's not certified fit by a medical team of doctors, he risks losing his life. So this is one of the debates going on in Zambia.
That is actually quite concerning, but we are hoping for the best for him, and we actually do hope that the pastor did his job and Enoch is fit to play and certified fit. Thank you so much, Mr. Sichula, for giving us an update on the latest stories in Zambia.
Thank you so much. Africa, good morning. Do have a lovely weekend.
A lovely weekend we wish to have, and in order to do that, we need to have great weather. Let's take a look at the weather predictions before we return with our economic news.
In economic news this morning, Eswatini denies a debt trapped by Taiwan. Now, Eswatini has denied a report that it committed some public assets as collateral in the case of the government failed to pay Taiwan loans. A local website had on the 26th of March reported that the government pledged to forfeit 2 national assets in case it failed to repay a loan of their construction. Now, Eswatini took a loan from Taiwan's Exim Bank for the construction of the International Convention Center and 5-star hotel to host government offices and meetings. In a statement on Wednesday, Eswatini's Economic Planning and Development Minister Tambo Gina said he was not aware of such an agreement, saying Eswatini laws do not allow pledging public assets as collateral for loans. Master Gina said the report created an enormous and regrettable disinformation campaign against a loyal and steadfast ally of the Kingdom of Eswatini.
Now moving over to Mozambique, despite floods, domestic sugar requirements can be met. There's enough sugar in Mozambique to supply domestic requirements, despite the flooding last month, which affected thousands of hectares of sugarcane in the Maputo province. Agriculture Minister Celso Correa on Monday overflew the devastated sugar fields of Maragra in Manhica, where 51% of the total area was lost due to the floods. But even with this scale of destruction, according to a report in Tuesday's issue of the Maputo Daily Noticias, sugar producers are guaranteeing that there will be no impact on the domestic market in terms of the availability of sugar.
Let's have a look at our economic indicators and thereafter the sports package with Ari Rouhad.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, and starting off with tennis news first. It's the Miami Open that continues. It's the finals that's going to be played over the weekend. The best players in the world on the WTA, the women's side and the ATP men's side are playing in the tournament. Only player absent on the world rankings is Novak Djokovic. He's not playing in Miami. The reason for that is that he's not vaccinated against COVID-19, and the regulations in the USA still that he cannot enter the country. So only him that didn't play in the tournament. Number one seed in the women's, also Iga Swiatek, she withdrew with injury early in the tournament. But what's happened, the big news on the women's side of the Miami Open is that the number two seed, Aryna Sabalenka, she's out of the tournament. She won the Australian Open, and she also played in the final of the Indian Wells tournament, but she lost to Sorina Cârstea, and she is from Romania. Not a well-known player, she's unseeded, and she's through all the way to the semi-final, so a big shock. It is world number two, Aryna Sabalenka, out of the Miami Open. Still in the tournament, Jessica Pegula, she's a number 3 seed, and she will play in the semi-final against Elena Rybakina. Rybakina is the winner of the Indian Wells tournament just a few weeks ago. She also played in the final of the Australian Open, so it will be a tough game for Jessica Pegula. In the men's draw, it is Yannick Sinner that's through. He won his game in the quarterfinals against Emil Risifuru. He's from Finland. The score 6-3 and 6-1 quite comfortably. The big names also through to the quarterfinals. Daniel Medvedev, the number 4 seed. Then also world number 1, Carlos Alcaraz from Spain. He's also through to the quarterfinals. And then also Stefanos Tsitsipas of Greece. So tough competition there in the men's draw of the Miami Open. The finals will be played on Saturday and Sunday. On to rugby news. It's the European Championships that's going to continue. It's a round of 16, and the big news from the Stormers side. The Stormers play against the Harlequins from England, and it's a big game for the Stormers. They expect close to 50,000 people at the Cape Town Stadium, but not good news for them related to player availability. Ruben van Heerden, it's a new signing lock that they signed from Exeter Chiefs just a few weeks ago, a month ago. He cannot play in this competition, and the reason is that early in the competition he already played for the Exeter Chiefs, so that means that he cannot play in the competition for 2 different teams, so he cannot play for the Stormers on Saturday. Tough game for the Stormers. All the Springboks will play, all the England players also playing in the Harlequins team, and then also there's an X factor in the midfield for Harlequins. It's a former South African, or current former South African Springbok rather, Andre Esterhuizen. He's going to play in the centre for Harlequins against the players from the Stormers. Continuing international sports news with cricket news, it is the IPL. That's the biggest franchise tournament in the world, a cricket tournament that's going to start again on Friday. It's the 16th edition, and it is most of the players of England that are going to be playing in the tournament. They sought after because England is the T20 and the 50 over world champions at the moment. So players like Ben Stokes, also Josh Butler, and also Jofra Archer, high in demand and will play in this year's IPL. The Gujarat Titans won the tournament last year, and it was their first year that they played in the tournament. And they will play the first game of the tournament. They will play against the Chennai Super Kings. That will be the opening game for them on Friday.
And that brings us to the end of our broadcast. But before we say goodbye, let's take a look at the highlights from earlier on. Update on Storm Freddy, Malawi to declare 537 missing persons dead. Botswana denies soldiers starving in Mozambique. South Sudan president appoints own defense minister breaching peace deal. Eswatini denies debt trapped by Taiwan.
Those have been our stories. We thank you very much for watching our show this morning. We'll be back again next week, same time, same place. And on that note, it's all our love, all our light, and a very beautiful weekend ahead.